Hey everybody. When we left off, we just finished a pipeline that will render my shirt transparent but also layer the arms on top of an image attachment. But we're not finished yet. Once I've lost my jacket in game, my shirt still needs to be wet, which isn't the case yet. We've still got one more row we need to apply our pipeline to. But we can't just use it as is, because if I import, I get my jacket back. This is because our pipeline is blending into a special pose I made with a jacket but no shirt. It's automatically updating to match the right pose, but we also needed to match the right clothing stage. So let's make a new row in our wet sheet and call it no jacket. Since we don't want this row to make a file, mark it as a pipeline asset. Now, this row just so happens to be exactly the same as my shirtless stage. So I'll copy the wardrobe code from there. The pose codes have already been copied from the previous row, which was copied from the main sheet when I first created it. So this row is good to go, and we just need to hook it into the pipeline. Back in the main sheet, let's pull up the pipeline editor. You'll see on the cell reference, a row input. This takes the name of a row that should be used for the cell. So the question then is, where do we get this information to plug into it? The answer is with pipeline parameters. You can configure each usage of a pipeline by providing it different parameters, which are strings of text that will be available within the pipeline. We'll use a parameter to provide the row information then. If you recall, the row's name is no jacket, so let's go to the lost jacket stage in our main sheet and supply a parameter called no jacket. Take note that this is parameter 0 in our list of parameters. Now when we open the pipeline editor, we can pull in a parameter node, which outputs the chosen parameter. Right now it's using number 0, which is the one we want. For the lost jacket row in our matrix, we supply the name no jacket to this parameter. Plugging this parameter into the row parameter of the cell reference node will cause it to refer to the cell at that row in the sheet, instead of the row we originally picked. If the parameter is blank, like with the fully clothed stage, it will use the default. With that in place, we can now use the same pipeline for both stages and have it blend with the correct clothing. We're not quite done yet though. Importing the mad pose, we end up with our jacket sleeves. This is the same root problem as before. Our cell reference for the arms always has sleeves. We need to create a different pose containing just the arms without the sleeves. So I'll add a row to my no hair sheet and call it arms. Then I'll load the code from my sleeves pose into KKL. Take off the jacket and export that code into the arms row's wardrobe code. Then I'll turn off the transparency settings for all the base body parts except the forearms. All that remains is plugging this into the pipeline. So back at the lost jacket row in the main sheet, let's pull up the parameter list and add a parameter number 1 named arms. Remember, this was the name of the row we just added. In the pipeline editor, we add another parameter node. Set it to parameter 1 and hook it into our arm cell reference. Now, I'm not seeing any image here because I opened a pipeline on the com pose, which has no corresponding pose for the sleeves. So let's close this and reopen it using the mad pose. Now we can see the bare arms. If I unplug the row's input, we go back to the sleeves. There. We've taken care of all the issues with these stages. The shirt remains transparent, the jacket goes away in stage 1, and the shirt logo remains behind the arms. The rest of my stages don't need any post-processing, so I'm done using pipelines for my core set of poses. Before I finish, we made this layering pipeline and ended up not using it. So let's delete it. Time to get back to writing dialogue, I guess. But that's not as fun as plugging things into each other. Well, happy creating everyone.